Who's the wannabe? Made it to example. Nigga, you pop shit with the wrong guys this time. What?
Hello, and welcome back to yet not another college football video, another mock draft, my third mock draft. And I waited 3 weeks for this one instead of the regular 2 weeks. I think a lot has changed in the draft order and, the prospects. A lot of players shooting up, some players falling. We'll get into all of that. Different setup, microphone this time. Hopefully it improves the quality. We will see, of course. But let's hop right into it because my computer is lower on battery than usual. We'll see if my mic dies halfway through. I bet it will. All right. Order is the same at the top. Well, same as we've grown accustomed to seeing. First mock draft, I had the Bears taking Caleb. Second mock draft, I had the Bears trading with the Falcons. Where we stand right now, I've seen Fields come back one game from injury, and he looked pretty good in my opinion. They did not beat the Lions, but Fields played well enough to beat the Lions, if you ask me. I just think the Bears are going to stick with Fields. That's my gut feeling right now if I had to bet on it. So we're going to have them trading this pick with who? Well, let's take a look. Cardinals, no. Patriots, they're probably fine sitting at number 3. Commanders, no. Giants, I think, are the first team. They're the highest pick that the Bears could get back, and I think they're the most desperate team besides the Patriots for a quarterback. So let's go ahead and make that move happen. It would be number 6, first next year, let's say one of their second rounds this year, for number 1 for the Giants to move up just 5 spots, but those 5 spots will be incredibly valuable. Force that trade, start the draft. Who do they take? I'll be honest, as the college football season has progressed, I think Drake May as the first pick has become more realistic. I think I said that in the last draft as well, but I'm not going to overthink it. Caleb's ability to escape, make plays outside the pocket, his raw arm talent, his youth, I think it's all there. I'm not going to overthink it. Caleb at number 1. Cardinals at number 2. This has been a no-brainer. Marv has been a top 2 pick, I think, since I've started doing the mock drafts. I mean, no need to really gush over Marv. He is what he is. We all should know it at this point, but I will anyways. He could have been a top 5 pick last season. I think he would have been a Pro Bowler in the NFL this season. I don't even think he needs to be playing college football right now, but he is because he has to. I think he's going to come in day 1. Cardinals, solid situation. I think Kyler and him, I think he'll be a Pro Bowler day 1. I think it would be a shock, and this may sound crazy, that if Marv goes to a good situation, it would shock me if he's not a Hall of Famer. That's just how confident I am in his talent. So Marv at number 2 to the Cardinals. Patriots at 3, no-brainer, Drake May. Probably the most desperate team in the league for quarterback. You could argue that they're tanking. I think that their most recent game against the Giants, where they missed a 35-yard field goal to send it into OT, I just believe it was intentional. It's crazy for someone to actually think that an NFL team is tanking and trying to lose games, but honestly, with the way they're handling Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi going back and forth every game, I think all the signs are there that the Patriots are intentionally losing games for a quarterback, and Drake May at 3, it makes perfect sense. So that's an easy pick there. Bears at 4, so interesting, so many different options. You could have your pick at the best defensive player, a number 1 receiver, the best offensive lineman, Brock Bowers. And I think last time I had them going, I think both times I've had them going defensive player. This time I'm going to give them Fashanu. Why am I giving them Fashanu? I think they like Braxton Jones at left tackle. Darnell Wright has been good at right tackle. Tevin Jenkins coming back off injury. I just don't think any of those guys have the upside that Fashanu does as an NFL left tackle. Point blank. Protecting Fields has to be your number 1 priority. If you got Fashanu and Darnell Wright at your tackles, that is about as good as a situation as anybody, as far as having 2 good young offensive tackles in the NFL. Commanders at 5, I'm not going to overthink this. Best player available, Brock Bowers, position of need. He comes in and immediately improves your entire offense. He is the best blocking tight end in the entire draft. He would help immediately in the run game, which the Commanders love to try and get going. He would help in pass protection, and then just as a receiving threat, he might be Sam Howell's favorite receiver day 1. Brock Bowers is a generational tight end talent, even better than Kyle Pitts, in my opinion, because Brock Bowers is well-rounded. I think he's already the best college tight end ever. And I think top 5 might even be a little undervaluing what he can do in the NFL. Bears again at 6. I think right here, you know, I usually have had them going offense and defense every time I've done this, but I think a guy has been playing so well as of late, and I still think the Bears need massive help at receiver. I think Malik Neighbors has played himself into the highest I've drafted him so far, certainly. Every time I do a mock draft, Malik Neighbors keeps shooting up higher and higher because he's playing that good right now. I mean, he's probably going to win the Biletnikoff. I think he's been the best receiver in college football this year. I think the Bears, having him and DJ Moore, getting Fashanu, you are putting yourselves in position to have the best offense the Bears have had, at least in my lifetime, with Fields, those two guys, that running back room. It's just, it would be a great draft if the Bears walked away with Fashanu and Neighbors and an extra first-round pick and second-round pick from the Giants. Bucks at 7. Quarterback Baker has not been playing as well as of late, which is why the Bucks are all the way in the top 7. I think this is still a little bit too high for a QB not named Caleb or Drake May. So we're not going to go that. I think long term here, who are some receivers I think will be on the Bucks 3 years from now? I don't know if I could name one. Trey Palmer has had moments, but what was he, a 6th-round pick out of Nebraska or whatever it is? He's not, a number 1 guy you look to in the future. I think Godwin and Mike Evans are both off this team in the near future. So I think you need to get a number 1 bona fide wide receiver. Why not get a guy like Keon Coleman? Keep him in state. He has all the measurables you'd ever want out of a receiver: height, weight, speed, the ability to go and snatch the ball out of the air. Is he a refined route runner yet? No. Is he the most polished receiver in this class? No. With that being said, maybe they hold on to Chris Godwin next year, and you don't need Keon Coleman to be a number 1 right away. So it's a project pick with the upside being you get a dominant NFL receiver in the future. So I think that is a risk worth taking if you're the Buccaneers. Jets at 8. This is a dream scenario for the Jets because Joe Alt fell right into your lap. I don't see how the Jets take anybody besides tackle unless unless it would be just a massive reach. But I don't even think that's possible because I don't see a way that Alt, Fashanu, and Fuaga all go before the Jets get to pick. So I think the Jets, if I had to bet my money on like damn near any pick, it would probably be the Jets taking tackle with their first-round pick. So Joe Alt, dream scenario for the Jets right there. Chargers at 9. I've usually had them. Do I usually have them going Brock Bowers? This is a tough one in this situation. Liatu Latu is sitting right there. This is already the farthest he's fallen in one of my mock drafts. But I think the Chargers, with the J.C. Jackson experiment failing, Michael Davis regressing and probably not coming back next year. I don't know if he's a free agent or not, but you need a corner desperately. So let's look at our options here. I think Kool-Aid and Nate Wiggins are what you want in a quarter nowadays. Long arms, lengthy, can run with anybody. They are the prototypical boundary corners we see nowadays. Cooper DeJean is an X factor. He can play anywhere in the secondary and probably make an impact. Who do the Chargers go? I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins. This is the highest I've had him drafted so far. The highest I think I've had any corner drafted so far. But I've been hearing so many good things about Nate Wiggins. He's been playing so well. He has all the measurables you could ask for that I'm pretty confident now that he's going to be a top 15, top 20 pick. And the Chargers, with their needs at cornerback, it makes sense to me. Titans at 10. It has to be receiver, O-line. I'm not even going to entertain the thoughts of anything else. Let's explore wide receiver first. You have Rome Odunze and Emeka Egbuka. I don't love the value at number 10 compared to a guy like Fuaga on the board right now. Could Rome Odunze come in there and be an amazing player? Absolutely. I think he would be. But if Levis does not have time to throw the ball, then it doesn't matter who the Jets or who the Titans would take at number 10. So I think Fuaga to the Titans. They need a tackle desperately. He's been playing out of his mind. I expect Fuaga to go in the top 15. Raiders at 11. Is O'Connell awful? No, I don't think so. Is he good enough to get another year in Las Vegas? I'm not sure. But with the 11th pick and with the QBs off the board, I do think the Raiders are going to be the first team to draft a QB outside of May and Caleb. Who is it? Well, let's break it down. Bo Nix, probably if I had to bet, the most NFL ready, day one, come in and start, make the right decisions. That's his best quality, if you ask me, is his decision making and his accuracy inside, let's say, 30 yards. Jaden Daniels could possibly reunite with Antonio Pierce. He was Jaden Daniels' head coach at Arizona State, I believe. Maybe not head coach, but one of his coaches at Arizona State. Uh, I don't even know if Pierce is going to be the coach of the Raiders moving forward, but we'll see about that. Jaden Daniels has the explosiveness. He has the best legs out of anybody in this entire class at the quarterback position, even better than a couple of running backs. If you ask me, he moves effortlessly. He glides when he decides to take off and run. Michael Penix, probably the best arm out of these three. He puts the ball in places where only his receivers can get it. He throws the ball downfield with the most accuracy, in my opinion. Out of these three options, take your pick. I think they'd all work, but I think Michael Penix at 11 just sits the best with me right now. But Saints at number 12, I think the Derek Carr experiment is over. I thought it would work. I like Derek Carr, but it just has not. I think a big part of that is because the offensive coordinator sucks, but I have to admit Derek Carr has not been playing his best football either. So the Saints, it would be an uproar if this were to happen for the Saints to draft Jaden Daniels by Saints fans. It would be a hype train like we have not seen. Could they pass on that? Sure. When was the last time they even drafted an LSU player? I think it's been like years. But I just think it makes sense. I think the timing is right. The value, it's higher than I've had him going before, but Jaden Daniels is going to be the Heisman, I believe. He has the talent, has the attributes, has the it factor. I think Jaden Daniels at 12 makes sense right now. Packers at 13. This is an extremely interesting spot because they could go a number of ways. Matter of fact, let me stop screen sharing for the moment so I can see. I have my cheat sheet pulled up here. Let me see what I had them going over here, see if I still like that. Okay, yeah, I like that. Let me bring y'all back up to speed here. Had to use my cheat sheet real quick. The Packers, usually I've had them going offensive line, but they've been winning games lately, so I don't necessarily think that's in play at 13. Receiver, I don't believe in it. Running back, no. Quarterback, Jordan Love's been playing good. Defensive line, very possible. But I think DB is certainly in play here. You traded Rasul Douglas. Obviously, you got Jair Alexander. Eric Stokes has been iffy at best. Getting a boundary corner, I think, would greatly help Green Bay, and Kool-Aid is sitting right there. I just think that's a no-brainer. Rams at 14. Liatu Latu on your board. You need help everywhere on defense. The Rams have nothing long-term on defense, if you ask me. Liatu Latu on the board right there. A lot of people think he's going to fall because, think Jalen Phillips, massive health concerns in college, had to medically retire at Washington, did Liatu Latu, but he has reemerged at UCLA. He's a little older than most other prospects. I do not care about that. The Jets drafted Will McDonald, top 15 last year, and he's already 24, so I don't want to hear that. I don't think NFL teams really care about age as much as some people think they do. Liatu Latu at 14, best player on the board. Rams need help everywhere on defense. Makes the most sense to me. Bengals at 15. It's boring because I keep having them take Jerzon Newton, but it just makes the most sense. They're not going to draft a tight end at this spot. Wide receiver. I have been enlightened to the idea of the Bengals drafting receiver, assuming they just let T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd walk, which will probably be a good idea. You got Charlie Jones and Yossi Voss sitting in the wings right there. Would Rome Odunze to the Bengals be sexy or what? Absolutely. Do I think Jerzon Newton is a safer pick and would improve their defensive line in a heartbeat? Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to do that. Next time, though, I may explore Bengals wide receiver. Bills at 16. DB or wide receiver for me, it's going to be Rome Odunze, though. Odunze has been playing out of his mind. If I had to give a runner-up to the Biletnikoff, it'd probably be Rome Odunze. All respect to Marv and Brian Thomas and Troy Franklin and all those guys. But Odunze, it has been dozens of jump balls against opposing teams' number one cornerbacks that Rome Odunze has come down with already this year, and he has multiple games left to play. Well, assuming they win against Oregon, but I think Odunze is a lock for a top 20 pick, and the Bills, after firing their OC, probably firing their head coach, the idea of Josh Allen throwing it up to Rome Odunze, it's too good to pass up on. I imagined it once, and now I can't unsee it. So Odunze at 16 to the Bills. Cardinals at 17. We gave them Marv. I think this has to be defense. Take your pick. Look at the top three guys right here. They're all top tier defensive ends. Well, pass rush, edge players. I have heard from people that I trust that Dallas Turner is the best. He's the youngest, I think. He has the most upside. He plays both the pass and the run well. Chop Robinson is the best speed rusher in the whole class without a shadow of a doubt. Jared Verse is well-rounded. He's a little older, maybe not having the upside of a Chop Robinson or a Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner is the perfect blend. So I think the Cardinals, you already got Ojulari last year. Pair him up with Dallas Turner, and you are set at your edge rushers moving forward. Broncos at 18. This still has to be wide receiver, in my opinion. You got some great options here. Chop Robinson, Jared Verse, man, would that work wonders in Denver. However, I still think, Marvin Mims has been great. He's been great this season. A breakout, certainly. But I still don't believe that Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton will be on this team long term. Tim Patrick tore multiple ACLs, I think. I don't even know if he's going to play football anymore. They need a receiver not named Marvin Mims, even though he's good. I think Xavier Worthy, working underneath routes, Russ would fall in love with him. He also obviously has the explosive play potential. If the Broncos were to draft a receiver at 18, I think Worthy would be the guy right there. Falcons at 19, it has to be quarterback. Look, Ritter has done nothing, and I mean nothing, to prove to me that he should get another year. I don't even know if he should finish the season with the Falcons, to be honest. Some Falcons fans still believe in him. Honestly, I don't know why. The only explanation would be that they just think Arthur Smith is that horrible and evil that he is ruining Desmond Ritter, but I just don't think he has the talent. Quite frankly, I don't think he has the arm, the confidence, the poise, anything that you need to be an NFL QB. So that may sound a little harsh, but the Falcons are a QB away from actually being contenders. So, quite frankly, I think the only option here is Bo Nix. Quickly, I'll talk about J.J. McCarthy. My opinion on him, obviously, he has played his three most important games of the season. He's played them back to back to back. Against Penn State, they threw the ball 8 times. They didn't trust him. Against Maryland, he played his worst game of the season. It was awful. Against Ohio State, he played well. But he still did not really impress me, if I'm being quite honest with you. So I have 3 straight games of J.J. McCarthy not blowing my socks off whatsoever. He still has a game against Iowa, very good defense, and probably the college football playoff to prove me wrong. But until I see something from him, he is no longer a first-round QB, in my opinion. So with that being said, Bo Nix to the Falcons, that is a dream scenario. All of these landing spots are very good, to be honest. Penix, Jaden Daniels, and Bo Nix all landing at amazing teams, in my opinion, for them. Colts at 20. I feel like, do I overthink this? Do I go receiver when they probably shouldn't? Do I go DB? Or do I just take Chop Robinson or David Verse? Let me go back to my cheat sheet. Sorry. 1 second. Need to see what I thought here. Okay. I know what I'm doing. All right, Colts at 20. A lot of great options here. This is an amazing pick. However, I think the best option for the Colts here would be improving that secondary mightily by taking a guy in Cooper DeJean who could play anywhere, help anywhere, and make plays anywhere in the secondary. He is that versatile. He's that talented. And the Colts, if you're looking for speed and explosiveness in your secondary, that's the guy for you. So I think it makes a lot of sense for the Colts to improve that secondary with Cooper DeJean. Vikings at 21. I just don't think it's J.J. McCarthy. Would you roll with Dobbs in this situation? I have no clue. If he gets you to the playoffs, probably, but we'll have to wait and see about that. Who do they take here? Don't overthink it. Chop Robinson. I know Daniil Hunter has played well. Not so sure about what Davenport's been up to, but Chop Robinson, I'm sure, is a better, future asset than either of those guys. Certainly, Hunter aging, Davenport's injury history. The Vikings, you want to improve your defense, load up on pass rushers. That's a pretty tried and true method right there. Seahawks at 22. Jared Verse makes a lot of sense. I understand that. But our offensive line, I feel like, has been the key to our entire downfall offensively, besides the awful play calling and Gino's inconsistencies. I think our tackles are very solid. However, I think we just need depth more than anything. And having a guy like J.C. Latham just sitting there, I don't know how you can pass up on that, quite frankly. He is more than talented. I think he can play tackle. Who knows if he has the versatility to play guard? I want to improve the Seahawks offensive line with this pick. And I think J.C. Latham sitting there improves it day one, regardless of how much he plays at tackle or guard or wherever. It improves the Seahawks O-line. That's what I'm wanting with this pick. Steelers at 23. I think the secondary has to be addressed. Pat Pete, not the answer. Levi Wallace, how long do you want him there? Do you have any options outside of Joey Porter long term? I'm not so sure. So why not take his college teammate, Kalen King? Obviously, keeping him in state. They already know everything about him because they knew everything about Joey Porter. I just like the story there. It fills an immediate need. And, don't overthink a pick like that. Texans at 24. I just think you take the best player available. Pairing Jared Verse with Will Anderson is dangerously scary. I mean, that's two of the best players, two of the best pass rush prospects we've seen in years on the same team in back-to-back draft classes. That would be an amazing pick for the Texans at 24. Dolphins at 25. Last time I had them taking a tight end, which I think is still very much in play and very interesting. But this time I have them taking tackle, improving the offensive line. You absolutely have to protect Tua. Graham Barton sitting right there. Can he play tackle in the NFL? Not sure. Even if he can't, he improves that offensive line somehow immediately. Also, I'd like to point out the reason I have not gone with Amarius Mims anywhere yet, and I will not go with him anywhere yet, is because I have heard from people that he will be returning to Georgia so that he can go in the top 5 to 10 in next year's draft class. That obviously has not been determined yet, and I don't know why he would announce something like that with the college football playoff looming, but I am making the prediction that he returns to Georgia. So just for clarification there. Cowboys at 26. I think this just has to be receiver. I mean, we could break down some of the other options. Running back, no. Interior offensive line, no. Interior defensive line, they just drafted Mozzie Smith. Linebacker, maybe. Edgerrin Cooper to Dallas. That sounds like a pretty good fit, especially with Van Der Esch's injury. Cornerback, absolutely not. They have Trayvon Diggs and Deron Lynn. So I think receiver is a big need for them. Who do you take? I think keeping A.D. Mitchell in Texas, giving them a big body outside receiver, giving them a deep threat makes perfect sense to me. Lions at 27. This could be a lot of things. They're a good team, but they also have a lot of places that they could improve via the draft. It's going to be cornerback for me, though, and it's going to be a guy who has been shooting up draft boards as of late, and that's Terrion Arnold. He has been outstanding. He might be All-American right now at Alabama because he's just playing so well. In the SEC, going against top-tier guys, I mean, he's been possibly the most impressive DB in the country, just based off how well he's played in terms of what people thought he would be preseason. So he's been outstanding. I think he's played himself into the first round. Lions need corner, no brainer. The Jaguars is interesting because I've been giving them safety every single time, but I heard from some Jags fans today, as I was doing research for this video, that safety really is not as big of a need as some people may think. So, with that being said, I'm going to give them a guy who previously I have not had in the first round at all, and that's Braylon Trice. He has been dominating the Pac-12 by all accounts. I have been overlooking him in the draft up to this point because I don't usually have a fifth pass rusher in there. But if the Jags don't take safety, I feel like it's a need for them. You know, Trayvon Walker, solid. Josh Allen, who knows if he comes back. I think pass rush quickly becomes a need for the Jaguars if that happens. So Braylon Trice sitting right there. Why not pick him at 28? Chiefs at 29. You cannot convince me for any single reason during the entire draft process that they will not take a receiver or tight end with this pick. Now, they didn't last season. They took Felix Anzarike, whatever. I don't even know how he's playing this season. But let's just say that they take receiver. Would Emeka Egbuka not be the absolute dream? Would knowing how they play nowadays with just everything underneath, not taking that many shots because they can't right now, would you go with a guy? In the past, I've given them a Johnny Wilson, a Jalen Polk, A.D. Mitchell, someone who can stretch the field. But seeing how they've been playing as of late, I feel like Emeka would just fit right in with what they're doing and be outstanding at it day one. I think he'd be a number one receiver for them, really, right out the gate. And I mean, I don't know how you could pass at that at 29 if you're the Chiefs. Niners could be tackles, certainly. I'll do that actually. I've given them corner damn near every time, I think. I want to try and do different situations every time to switch it up. We'll give him Jordan Morgan. Couldn't tell you much about him, honestly, except I know he's widely regarded as a first-round pick by just about everybody I look to for mock drafts. So I have to respect that. Tackle a need for the Niners, even if Morgan cannot play tackle day one, he can learn from Trent Williams and hopefully, if nothing else, be depth for them, which they desperately need immediately. Ravens at 31, receiver or corner, it'll be corner for me. You still got TCU corner Josh Newton on the board. Could be some other guys. Could be Kamari Lassiter. Could be Denzel Burke from Ohio State. But I think Josh Newton, I've been in love with him from day one. He is one of my draft crushes. Pause. I just think the Ravens corner is a desperate need. Maybe Josh Newton is not the perfect guy for them, but I know it's going to be corner. Unless it's not and it's receiver. But I just think Josh Newton, keep him in purple, send him to Baltimore. Makes sense. I say that so much. I gotta figure out more things to say besides makes sense or perfect fit or something like that. Eagles at 32. I've given them linebacker, receiver. I don't think makes sense. I think secondary, even though they've added so much talent last year at secondary, Keely Ringo, Sidney Brown, Eli Ricks. Why not keep adding talent? Cam Kitchens is sitting there right at 32. I know you drafted Sidney Brown. I know you got Reed Blankenship. Kevin Byard is a Band-Aid. If Cam Kitchens, he could be better than Blankenship, certainly, or Sidney Brown, or maybe even Kevin Byard. I mean, he has the talent. So why not give him a shot at 32? Eagles are known for just drafting the best player, see what happens. I think Cam Kitchens at this point, best player on the board. That's going to be it. Next time I may try and do a 2-round mock draft. That'll take so long, especially if I talk as long as I do about each pick like I do now. But that's going to be it for this mock draft. Give it one last look over. I like that one. That might have been my best one. Not gonna lie. Not to toot my own horn or anything. That was a really good mock draft, if you ask me. With that being said, hope you like the new setup. Hopefully it's a boost in quality. If it's not, let me know. I'll just go back to sitting on my bed against a wall. But thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you are new. Stay tuned. I have a lot more videos on the way. I've been slacking lately. Not anymore. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out. But niggas don't know how to act.